technologies.
Tourism Minister calls for civilized campaign ahead of December elections. Gambia Organization for Visually Impaired says they were excluded from government's COVID-19 response. And Gambia's entertainment industry pays tribute to late Tatadinding Jabate. This and more coming on Gambia 24. Hello and good evening. You're watching Gambia 24 News Bulletin with me, Mariama Cham. Thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. Ahead of the forthcoming December 4th presidential elections, civil society organizations have been preaching for peaceful democratic elections in the Gambia. The latest to join the advocacy is Gambia's Tourism Minister Ahmad Nkeba, who calls for the maintenance of calm atmosphere during political campaigns. Mr. Jala has the rest of that.
Political campaigns undeniably plays a crucial role in the democratic and electoral process of any nation. The arena is utilized to converge and create dialogue between political figures and the electorate to discuss developmental issues for the advancement of the nation. However, the political sphere in the Gambia over the years has taken a swift and misdirected approach between politicians and their supporters. The political arena in recent days has been marred with unpleasant comments, mostly from party supporters. This, according to many, signals an unhealthy and worrisome moment as Gambians are expected to race to the polls in barely 4 months' time. Speaking during a meeting with the YBK group at the State House ground, Ahmad Ba re-echoes the need for political parties and other bodies to stabilize the political sphere during election campaigns.
Seeking for presidency does not mean you have to curse people or insult them or even lie to the masses. Let us be careful because election will always come and go. Let us not say something bad against one another, and when we see tomorrow, we will not be able to talk to each other. President Barrow is not stopping anybody to do their campaigns. You are free to do your campaign. We are asking all alcalos and community heads to accord them with maximum respect. Don't insult them or curse them for no reason. Don't obstruct them because they have a right to campaign freely in the country without any hindrance. That is their right, and that's what Adama Barrow fought for.
The year 2016 ushered in democracy for Gambians. This, according to Ba, should not be jeopardized. For iAfrica News, Binti Jallo.
Now, the Executive Director of the Gambia Organization of Visually Impaired on Tuesday revealed to iAfrica TV some of the hurdles they faced with during the pandemic. According to him, the government's support is not satisfactory and they are not economically sustained. Jala has the rest of that in this report.
The COVID-19 global health crisis has negatively impacted the lives of people, including the differently abled people. Most of these people, especially visually impaired, have been economically affected as most of them are unemployed. People with these disabilities, faced with increased risk of poor outcomes from the virus, reduced access to routine health care and rehabilitation, and the adverse social impact of efforts to mitigate the pandemic. Lamin Koli, the Executive Director of the Gambia Organization of the Visually Impaired, has highlighted the economical effect COVID-19 has on visually impaired.
Our members are facing a huge challenge during this period. When you look at the economical aspect, during the lockdown, you will find out that public places were locked, and most visually impaired people who depend on begging were not able to go out as a result of the lockdown imposed by the COVID-19. So this has imposed a big challenge on their lives and their families.
According to Lamin Koli, the support received from the government is not satisfactory, but acknowledges certain NGOs that provided them great help.
Yes, there are support from NGOs. There are some NGOs that, would not allow their names to be published anyway, but they have done a lot for visually impaired people across the country. But when it comes to the government sector, I think what was the support that was granted to visually impaired people was not satisfactory anyway. But looking at the problem is that our visually impaired people were not involved in the process of drafting the response strategy for the COVID-19 that was drafted by the National Disaster Management Agencies, meaning disabled people were not involved in the process of developing that strategy. That's why the COVID-19 response was not inclusive.
Lamin calls on the authorities to include the different disabled people in all the decisions that they make.
Authorities should always remember that Gambia is a diverse country with diverse people, that there are some people who are still left behind, so they should start thinking of what to do to bring those people on board. So our issues should be valued. We should always be remembered by the authorities and decision makers. So with that, some of these challenges will be addressed gradually.
Worldwide, disasters and emergencies often disproportionately impact everyone, but the disabled are often hit hard, and this pandemic is of no exception. Reporting for iAfrica News, Aisha Jallo.
Govis Boster says they are not getting the support they need from government. Now, the Gambia Investment Export Promotion Agency, GAIPA, has launched a 5-year national export strategy plan meant to promote the production and exploration of Gambian-made goods in Africa and across the world. The strategy will help create employment for Gambians in the fisheries, agriculture, trade, and the tourism sectors. Awanjai attended the event and she now files in this report.
The failure of the 2013 to 2017 National Export Strategy (NES) triggered the establishment of the second National Export Strategy. The new export strategy is supported by the Commonwealth Secretariat in partnership with public and private sector. Speaking at the event, Hassan Gay, the Permanent Secretary of GAIPA, highlighted the genesis of the National Export Strategy and how the Gambia can benefit from it.
The objectives of the NES is to leverage the market access provided by the various multilateral and bilateral preferential market access treatments, to promote the development of packaging and labeling to meet international market requirements, to create employment and alleviate poverty, and to promote women in exports, develop human capacity in trade, especially exports.
The representative of the Secretariat, Mrs. Yinka Bandele, dilated on the importance of putting forward resources towards the actualization of the NES project.
The challenge of transforming Gambia from a small LDC with inherent characteristics of vulnerability to external shocks, a narrow resource base or commodity dependency, poor physical infrastructure with limited economies of scale, into a country which is nimble, highly responsive to international trade dynamics, and globally competitive, is a challenge which the key stakeholders from the public and private sectors must continue to rise to. Such a transformation would require vision, a national commitment to excel, a combination of high investment and aid flows, and improved productivity of its citizens, with the resilience to implement key strategies such as the NES.
The Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment, CDK Keita, said despite the small scale of production, the export strategy will help Gambia harness opportunities and take advantage in pushing forward the Gambian export brand. The Vice President of the Gambia, Dr. Aissatou Toure, highlighted the significance of the national export strategy in economic growth.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the National Export Strategy 2021-2025 is designed as a practical roadmap for the Gambia to achieve increased levels of economic development by focusing its limited but valuable resources on developing export capacity in 6 priority sectors for which the Gambia has the greatest potential for export development. The next specific goals and expected targets are as follows: to build a stronger, more responsible, robust, and resilient economy, to diversify export markets, to move the economy up this value chain through higher value generating export activities.
The NES identifies 6 priority areas and covers several cross-cutting issues that focus on enhancing the productive sector for increased exports. It also highlighted the approach that the government and private sector will use to determine the framework with which export-led growth will flourish and encourage investment in those sectors with export potential. These sectors include tourism, horticulture, agribusiness, fisheries, among others. The Gambia is a small economy that has been operating with a trade deficit for many years with heavy dependence on imports. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Hawan.
Gambia's Investment and Export Promotion Agency, GAMBIA, it launched a 5-year national export strategy plan meant to promote the country's import and export to the external world. Now, the SOS organization with partners on Saturday held a tree planting exercise beside the backwater dump site. This exercise is geared towards improving the environmental conditions of the surrounding dump site. Details of that in this report.
Climate change has impacts on the Gambia's ecosystem, and the cutting down of trees without replacing them has affected the climate, altering the distribution of rain yearly. This is a leading factor to the degradation in the agricultural sector. The dire situation prompts this organization into the planting of trees beside the back of the dam site. Ibu Fanjai, the acting national director for the Children Village in the Gambia, highlights the significance of the exercise.
This exercise is one of the components of the dam site, back of the dam site project. That is the environmental protection component. We are here today to initiate the green zone. The green zone is a component of the project that is meant to make it very green, but more importantly, to protect the environment and reduce the waste, improve the environment, and then also contribute eventually to climate change.
The manager of the Bakote SOS Children Village, Abdul Aziz Mbosh, dilates on the measures they will undertake in maintaining the trees.
One of the most important things is that you are seeing the fence. That is one of the protections that is going to sustain this planting. And another thing is this is in partnership with KMC, and we see that the KMC personnel also will be coming around from time to time to ensure that there is safety within the zone. You know, this is called the green zone, or sometimes we call it it's used to as a windbreaker, whereby anything that is coming out from the dump site will be protected from this side. It will be fully protected for sure. This time everything will be sustained. That's why we all converge here and make sure that we do the planting. We are definitely making sure that we work towards sustainability. That is a very, very important aspect. I'm sure that we will also achieve it.
Yankuba Dabo, the acting project coordinator, also dilates on the importance of the green zone to the community and the environment.
So this is why we also, because here when you look at the dump site, hardly you see people come and pay a visit to the dump site. You see anybody there? Yeah, because it's a dump site. But now we want it to be presented the best way. We want to bring the image so that everybody falls in love with the dump site. That is why the green zone is conceptualized. And the green zone, the tree planting is going on today. In the long run, well, nobody comes to the dump site, but you will see lovebirds taking selfies on the dump site because of the green and the beauty that the green zone has portrayed to the general population. So far so good. This is what is happening today, and of course understanding the importance of trees in the livelihood and the life of human beings, I think it is definitely necessary to have this and protect them for them to grow for our own good.
The SOS is a worldwide organization set up to promote and improve the lives of children across the world. To maintain the environment children are residing in, people have to be wary of the effects of climate change. Climate change is affecting the world, and the Gambia is not an exception. In times of disasters, children are highly affected. So planting trees to minimize the effects of climate change in the Gambia is indeed crucial. Reporting for iAfrican News, I am Howard Jai.
SOS organizations with partners on Saturday, they held a tree planting exercise beside the Bakota dump site, which is geared towards improving the environmental conditions of the surrounding. We will now go with a quick break and we'll be right back with the rest of the news on Gambia 24. Stay tuned.
The Gambia has launched a national COVID-19 vaccination campaign by the Ministry of Health and supported by various partners using the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Health workers first received the vaccine, followed by other groups based on their health risks and the supply of vaccines over time. This COVID-19 vaccine has been approved by the World Health Organization, WHO, for people aged 18 and above. Each person should receive 2 doses of the vaccine, with the second dose coming no time later than 12 weeks after the first. The most common side effects are pain at the injection site and flu-like symptoms for up to 48 hours after injection. Serious reactions are very rare. We must continue wearing our clean masks, washing our hands frequently, maintaining physical distance, and limiting time we spend in crowded and enclosed spaces. The vaccine is safe and can help us get closer to ending the pandemic. For more information, please call 1025 from any network in the Gambia, free of charge.
This message is brought to you by the Gambia Red Cross Society and funded by the European Union.
Welcome back. You're still watching Gambia 24 News, and now to the rest of our stories. Gambian artists, promoters and comedians paid tribute to Ibrahima Tata Dinding Jabate at his funeral service in Birkama. The late musician icon was praised for his magnanimity towards people, especially those closer to him. Omar Ahmad Toure has the rest of that.
The Gambian Kora Jiriot Tata Dinding Jabate, who passed away on Saturday, was buried in Birkama, Berewuleng, on Sunday, 22nd August 2021. A cross-section of people attended his funeral, among them his fellow artists who paid tribute to their fallen comrade. Jalba Kuyate, the Gambian Kora king, says the late Kora maestro admired his style of music and used to imitate him well before starting his music career. Tata is like a younger brother to me. I met him when he was a small boy. At that time, I had finished my teacher training and came to Birkama while he was a small boy. That was the time I started playing kora. Tata loved me to the max. He loved the way I dress and also the way I sing. He used to imitate me in every way. He started singing with my songs first before he started singing his own songs. So there is none that loves me more than Tata. Tata did all this because of the love he had for me. Isa Fofana alias Mama Africa, a friend of Tata, is among those who has contributed a lot to his medical treatment. To Madam Fofana, Tata is a revolution for young artists.
Tata have a very good heart. Tata is someone that it's an inspiration for the Gambian young talent. And we have a good relationship anyway. Then one time I heard that he was sick. So I went there, I saw the problem, and then I decided, I came and then I see that there was a problem with the leg. And first what I did, I have some friends at Switzerland, they are doctors. and I bring them. But anything which I do, I always like to do sutura. Nobody ever know, because anything I do with Tata, I tell Tata, don't tell anybody, don't ever tell anybody, and don't ever sing anything about it.
Mohamed Dabo, a comedian who runs some music projects for Tata, also states that Tata has respect and compassion for people, saying Tata used to share with people whatever he gets from his source. If you call Tata for a show and you don't have much profit in the show, he used to share with you the little he has in order to please you. We are at a funeral and so cannot talk a lot about him. But to conclude, I can tell you that he has done good in the world. That is why this huge crowd accompanies him here. We've all seen the crowd. The good things Tata did are what people are saying today. If you don't do good, nobody will talk about it. Let's all do good so that when we die, people would say good about us. Nyancho, another Afro-Manding artist, says Tata's demise is a great loss to the Gambian music industry because he and many others drew their inspiration and motivation from Tata.
Barin Tata keta mo foloti.
Tata was the first to hold my arms and told me, Nyancho, you are my musician. He told me, you are the one I listen to most among all the young artists, but you need to make certain adjustments and that will bring much improvements to your music and you will be unstoppable. And when I did as he advised, I have seen progress in my music. Ibrahima Tata Dini Jobate died at age 56. He learned the trade of playing the kora instrument from his father and spent 33 years playing kora in his band, Salam Band. He is survived by 2 wives and 3 children. Reporting for iAfrica TV, this is Umar Ahmadu Toure.
The Gambia's entertainment industry there pays their tribute to the late Tata Dinding Jabate. Now, fishing is an important sector that adds a significant contribution to our country's economy. However, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, David Belgrove, says the illegal practices in these sectors could lead to environmental and economic damages to both the fishermen and the country's financial sector. Awanyai has the rest of that.
90% of global inland captured fisheries production is used for human consumption in developing countries like the Gambia. Majority of the Gambian population depends on fish for their daily protein consumption. Fishing centers like Tanje, Bakau and Gunjur contribute immensely in the industry, adding exponentially to the Gambia's economy as about 30,000 Gambians are employed in this sector. The British High Commissioner to the Gambia, David Belgrove, highlighted some importance of the fishery sector to the economic growth of countries.
When fishing grounds are illegally exploited, it has a considerable impact. Vast numbers of people around the world rely on upon the sea. The survival depends upon the ocean's capacity for renewal, which can only be maintained if we take an intelligent approach now to looking after these underlying natural systems and enable the oceans to function and regenerate.
The Commissioner also dilated on how most sectors of the nation could be affected if the fishing industry is not properly managed.
It's not just an environmental issue, it is also a serious economic issue, both for the artisanal fishermen, but actually for things like exports, which actually the developing country, quite often the exports will actually meet more, marine exports can actually earn more money than rice or coffee. And if fish stocks fail, then the social and economic consequences will be dire. Thousands of coastal communities in Africa, including the Gambia, livelihoods and futures depend on fish. And too often we hear from communities here in the Gambia and around the region of fish stocks declining and not being renewed because of overfishing and illegal exploitation of those fish stocks.
The protection and policing of waters and fishing grounds is under the Gambian Navy, and with knowledge of national and international laws, exploitation of the fisheries industry will be reduced drastically. The Gambia's natural resource is its waters, so the protection of it will help in boosting the income generation from the fisheries sector. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Hawan Jai.
The reports by Awanjai on illegal fishing, which can lead to economic downturn of the country, as described by the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, David Belgrove, brings us to the end of Gambia 24 News. I am your presenter, Mariama Cham. Thanks for your company and do have a pleasant night.
The locations, the design, the materials used, all the way down to the latest details are few of many things that we focused on when we envisioned the airport residency. As proud innovators of community estates, the airport residency in Old Yundum, a project by Swami India International, offers unique gated community with 3